Today we're going to go over some genetics vocabulary. Genetics is just the study of how traits are passed from parents to offspring, and another word for offspring is your children or your kids or something like that, right? The traits that parents pass to their children are carried on structures called genes. So a gene is just a strand of DNA that codes for a specific protein, because proteins is what our bodies are made out of. And genes are located on chromosomes. So there's many genes on one chromosome. A trait is a physical characteristic that's controlled by a gene or genes. So if you think about like how tall you are and how long your fingers are and what color eyes you have and what color skin you have and what color hair you have and all of those different things, those are all physical traits. Sometimes there's more than one version of a trait, and so those are called alleles. So an allele is a specific version of a gene that codes for a specific trait. And alleles are always found in pairs, and there's going to be one allele from each gene pair on each homologous chromosome that you get from your parents. So for example, when you inherit the chromosomes, you get one set of chromosomes from your mother and one set of chromosomes from your father. Because there's more than one allele for each trait, they have different phenotypes. So a phenotype is how something looks or its physical appearance. So like your eye color, for example, is the phenotype, and it's just a physical trait that's specific to the genes that you have. The genotype is the genetic code that tells you how to make the phenotype. So the genotype is the genetic material of an organism, and the material is located on chromosomes. And so we represent our genotypes by using letters when we are talking about genetics, and the genotype is the instructions for each different phenotype. If you have two letters that are the same, like capital B or small b, that means you have a homozygous genotype. So the word homozygous just means the same copy of two alleles. So if you have two alleles, one from your mom, one from your dad, and they happen to both have brown eyes, for example, then you would inherit the same allele from both parents, and you'd have a homozygous genotype. If you have a heterozygous genotype, it just means that you inherited two different alleles. So an example of a heterozygous genotype would be like capital B small b or capital T small t. And so a heterozygous genotype just means that you have two different alleles in your allele pair.